So, the things that go bump in the night can be very, very simple. However, if we allow our minds to go off on this wild tangent about what it could be or what we think it is or who knows what, we then begin to allow ourselves to go on this scary ride down to who knows where, to fright, to fear, to deception, to desperation. See, things that go bump are things that are calling for our attention. Anything that bumps you, anything that rubs up against you is really calling for your attention. Look at me, pay attention to me. There's some gift that I bring to you. What are some of those things in your life that are bumping you constantly? I think about bumper cars, because bumper cars are not like race cars. I like race cars, because you just get to go really fast around the track. But in bumper cars, a couple weeks ago we were at Knott's Berry Farm, got on the bumper car rides. And in bumper cars, you want to bump people. You want to see their response, their reaction. You want to bump them and make them jerk around. And the goal in bumper cars is to actually bump. It's not to just go around in the circle like race cars. So the things that are bumping you, like in bumper cars, if I bump you, I'm seeking your attention. I'm bumping you. I'm playing with you. I'm kind of saying, hey, here I am. But what are some of the things that continuously bump you that are seeking your attention because they're coming up to be healed, to be revealed, to be looked at, so that the light can shine on it and it can be revealed for the lie that it is? See, many of us, especially in this economy, as they say, maybe we've lost our jobs, lost a loved one, maybe we're losing our business, maybe we didn't get a promotion that we wanted, maybe we had an argument with our BFF or a family member, or there's been some disappointment in our life. Those are the bumps. Those are the things that go bump in your life. Those are the things that are simply coming up to be looked at, to be examined. Bump, B-U-M-P. Beware of the underlying mental practice. Just like in the song that Jan sang to us so wonderfully, right after that beautiful opening prayer, the little girl, her mental practice was, I'm gonna smile so you don't know that I'm afraid. But oh boy, there's something really wrong right now. How many of us do that? How many of us do the spiritual whitewashing? How many of us do the spiritual bypass? How many of us just totally glaze over situations in our lives because we're taught, or actually maybe mistaught, to use our prayer or affirmations or certain things to just kind of wish it away? We cannot wish it away. We get to do the work. It's coming up, it's bumping us, and it continuously bumps us because it needs to be addressed. Not just chanted away or prayed away or whatever. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be, the light needs to shine on it so we can see exactly the lie that it is. You know, a lot of us are so afraid of the unknown. That's a scary thought right there. That's scary, all right? There's nothing that is really unknown. What I know is that God is all there is. What I know is that God created everything out of itself. Therefore, my life is the life of God. What I know is that right where I am, God is. What's unknown? That's what I need to know. That's what I get to anchor. That's the mental practice that I get to engage in so that when things go bump, I can look at it. And instead of being scared, like in the poem, thump, 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 bump, 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 and too afraid and throw the covers over my head, too afraid to look, too afraid to really investigate and to see what is really happening, it's just a ball. It's just a ball. But because the weather was just right, because it was this perfect storm and things were creeping around and things were kind of, ooh, A simple ball going thump, 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 bump, bump, bump in the middle of the night scared the person in the poem. How many times do we allow situations, conditions to frighten us, to scare us, to throw us into this place of deep depression, to throw us in this whirlpool of sadness and lack and limitation and doubt and fear? How many times do we allow these things that go bump to really throw us in a tailspin instead of taking a look at our mental practice? Instead of us becoming beware of the underlying mental practice and saying to ourselves, what is the truth that I know right now? Even though this looks like this, or this sounds like this, or this can be scary or frightening, what is the truth that I know right now? And becoming aware of our mental practice, where we go in our own heads, and see if we're going down this rabbit trail that takes us nowhere, or whether we are using our faculty to recognize and to know the truth, to tap into that energetic that is life, to really begin to anchor and use that truth that we know to be the truth to really step us out into the light, into the truth of who and what we are. Make sense? Yeah. Too many times, the things that we bump up against take over our life. Too many times the things that we bump up against take over our lives. And we begin to think and or believe that which is coming up is the actual truth. When we really, really know, and if we don't know, then our practice is to really know that right where we are, God is. That everything is coming together for our good. That I'm living and having my being in God. And that God is living and having its being in, through, and as my life. And when we anchor in that truth, when we recognize that truth, when we know it beyond the shadow of a doubt, and we recognize that our mental practice, it may be to go to that side of lack and limitation, doubt, and fear. Oh, we can go, oh no, hold on. Now that's scary. What's the truth? And begin, even if it's taking small steps, begin to really take a look at our mental practice and make some small changes that we can actually participate in and do and recognize and practice and practice and practice, so that our default, when things bump us, when we bump into things, when these things pop up in our lives, these circumstances, these situations, so that when these things pop up, that our default is not lack, limitation, doubt, fear, insecurities, but indeed that our default becomes, oh, you look like a monster. But what I know is that right where I am, God is. I know that there's one power, one presence, one life. That life is the life that God is. That life is perfect. That life is my life right now. Therefore, it's from this place of power, from this place of peace, from this place of love, from this place of courage, from this place of harmony, from this place of clarity, I move forth and move forward into it, not running away from it, not ignoring it, not chanting or wishing it away, but I go forth from this place of presence and power with ease and grace, knowing that though the appearance may be a little frightening, that because I'm anchored in my truth, that everything is really unfolding for my highest good, is really unfolding for the highest good of all. That the truth of who we are, that we're so anchored in that that it continues to shine forth, and we begin to see these situations, these things that may bump us, as opportunities for growth. We look at them and we go, oh, this is coming up so that I can clear this up. Oh, I'm having this conversation again with so-and-so again because it's still not cleared up. I don't have to run away from it. I don't have to be afraid of it. I can just simply have this conversation again to have more clarity, to have more love, more harmony, more peace. You know, so many times what happens is we think that we can, we learn some things around here, which is what I love, because, this is a great teaching center. Like, we come here and we learn so much. This is like spiritual school. And we learn these tools, the power of prayer, of our affirmation, of meditation, of treatment. We learn how to vision, how to visualize, how to do our vision boards. We learn all of these things in a way to attract or actually be in alignment with the life that is really ours to have. The glorious, abundant, prosperous, harmonious, powerful life that seems sometimes so elusive and so attractive, and then we come around and, we see other people having this fabulous life, and we go, dang, I'll have some of what she's having, and what are you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm faithful in my meditation or my treatment, or I'm doing visioning right now, or I have this vision board, or whatever it is that folks do. I'll have a little bit of what he's having right there because he's having a good time. He's been surfing a lot this year, whatever it is that attracts you. As we begin to see people having these amazing lives, and we look to ourselves and kind of go, dang, I want some of that. I want some of that. Well, we have to address the things that bump us, the things that go bump. We have to take a look at that. We have to know and be anchored, and so deeply anchored in the truth of who and what we are, that when these things bump us, we recognize them for what they are, and we don't let them swerve us or move us away from the truth of who we are. Right where you are, God is. Right where you are, God is. That's an affirmation that continuously, if we begin to even just if you're walking from your car into the office, right where I am, God is. Right where I am, God is. We begin to not only just say it as a way to like we're chanting something away, but what we're doing is we're using the power of repetition, where what we're doing is uncovering those areas where we think, oh yeah, God is everywhere, but not right here. We're doing that so that we can begin to really recognize that even in situations that will baffle us, if we recognize that we've been doing these affirmations and knowing this truth, when we come up to these things that bump, we can go, right where I am, God is. But stand there from a different truth, because now it's anchored within us. But it just doesn't happen with just affirmations. Of course, we get to do our meditation work. We get to sit in the silence, and we get to know, and we're sitting in that silence, and we're actually tapping into that deep I am presence that is within us, that is so silent. It's almost like this whisper. But of course, with the head chatter and the mind chatter going so loudly, sometimes we can't hear the whisper. It's like, shut up so I can hear. So I can hear the silence. So I can hear that sweet I am presence speak to me in the language of my soul. But it just doesn't happen with our affirmation and our meditation. Those are practices that when we do them in combination, they begin to work a little bit more. And yet, but wait, there's more. Order now, and we'll also teach you how to do treatment. Treatment is just our fancy way of saying affirmative prayer or scientific prayer that is not about begging or beseeching some power outside of ourselves to grant us what we want. Just like affirmations are not just us saying, I am whole, or I am healthy, or wealthy, or wise. It's not saying it out loud so that some energetic can pick it up and go, okay, you finally believe it. Here's some money. Or here's some health. It's not so that that happens. It's so that we might know it for ourselves. There's no power that's outside of us that's going to grant us stuff just because we're saying it. We get to know that this is already who and what we are. It's already been given. It is already ours. It's already here. And to the degree in which we have a spiritual practice and a mental practice that engages that and that knows that and that we get to live from that place, we get to really experience the abundance and the prosperity and the health and the wholeness and the peace and the harmony and the joy that there is to have. I get excited about this stuff. I just recognize how excited I was. Because there's some good stuff. You know, a lot of times we wanna not look at the things that bump us. We don't, oh, that's too negative. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to deal with that. Go away. But it's coming up so that we can recognize it for the lie that it is. Dissolve into the nothingness from where it came. It came from some thought pattern or some mental pattern that we've picked up along the way. It's almost like we've been the street sweepers of trashy thoughts, in life, just like driving and the sweepers going, oh, we'll pick up that one, we'll pick up that one. And then when things go bump, we're like, oh yeah, I'm no good. Oh yeah, I'm not, smart. Oh yeah, I'm not worthy. Oh yeah, of course that's happening to me. I didn't do this or this or that. Or, oh yeah, that's just my karma coming up. It's almost, where did we get that stuff from? It's not even the truth of who we are. Somebody else threw it out and you picked it up. Somebody threw it out and we pick it up. We don't have to pick it up anymore. We don't have to pick up other people's trash. Just because people say, oh, if you do that, such and such and such, what's going to happen to you. I remember, if you keep turning your eyelids inside out, a fly's going to get stuck on it. It's flu season. And if you don't dress warmly, you're going to catch a cold or a flu. We pick it up. We go, oh, yeah, that's true. Better hold on to that gem. Put it right here. And then when we get bumped, we take it out and we go, oh, yeah, that's right. No, it's not the truth of who we are. The things that bump us, the things that go bump, are a reminder to beware of the underlying mental practice. Examine what it is that you're thinking. Where your mind takes you, what your default is. It's through our spiritual practice that we begin to change the default setting to I'm no good, to right where I am, God is. The power, the presence, the love, the harmony, the joy, the peace that God is, I am. Na 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 na. That's just the truth of who I am. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's just who I am. Love is just how I show up in the world. Peaceful is just how I show up in the world because it's who I am. Just like in the song, when I tell myself I'm brave, telling myself the truth. So when I tell myself the truth, and I begin to anchor in that truth through my prayer, my meditation, my affirmations, my visualization, through my spiritual practice, through all of the things that make up your own special design of your spiritual practice. That's how we anchor in a new default setting. That's how we get to live this life that we see other people just live so easily sometimes. Wow, how'd they get to drive that kind of car? Wow, how'd they get to live over there? Oh, wow, how'd they get to have all that love in their life? Wow, they seem so peaceful, so calm. How? It's been revealed. It's been revealed. To the degree in which we, as individuals and as a collective, to the degree in which we know that this is our truth, we get to live from this place. So we get to change our default. So, here is what our Science of Mind textbook tells us. This particular reading is actually talking about treatment, which is our affirmative prayer. Again, not praying to a power outside of ourselves, but affirmative prayer simply being that we recognize that there's a power and a presence, and that power and presence created everything out of itself. Therefore, I am one with this power and presence, so I'm unified, and then I'm simply stating that which is already my truth, but recognizing that it is indeed my life, and giving thanks for that. Like, pray ye knowing that it is done. You know, like you already know you're going to get a gift from me. You're already saying thanks even before you got it, right? So that Thanksgiving portion, that giving thanks, having that grateful heart that it's already happening, that it is already happening from the visible into the visible, and simply releasing it and letting it go. That's the quick version of a treatment. So Ernest Holmes is talking about treatment right here, and he says mental or spiritual treatment should bring into actual manifestation the health and happiness which are mankind's normal and divine heritage. The health and happiness which are mankind's normal and divine heritage. Our normal heritage is health and happiness. Spiritual health, emotional health, mental health, financial health, happiness, again, in all areas of our life. Health and happiness is our normal and divine heritage. So when we broke, we're not in the normal heritage of life. Okay? When we find ourselves in discord with something, we're not participating in the normal heritage of life. The divine heritage is our normal and divine heritage. It is who and what we are. So our prayer treatment should bring the actual manifestation. We should experience that. Such healings include the emancipation, meaning the freedom from the emancipation of the mind from every form of bondage through a new concept of God. Maybe we've been holding on to an old idea of God. Maybe it was something from our childhood. Maybe it's something we saw on television. Maybe we were hanging out at, with some friends and they kind of gave us some misperception or misinformation about God. But what we get to know is that there is a power and a presence that has created everything out of itself. Therefore, our life is that life that God is. We're made in the image and likeness of. So we get to be free from the bondage of every thought that is unlike this new concept, this idea that right where we are, God is, which causes the heart to beat with joy and gladness. This healing power is a consciousness of the unity of all life and the spiritual nature of all being. That is our truth. When things go bump in the night or in our life or in the daytime or whenever things bump up against us, it is an opportunity to beware of the underlying mental practice. It is an opportunity for us to stop, drop, and roll. No. But that might be a good spiritual practice, though. Stop, drop, and roll it on out. What can I say? It's a great opportunity to stop and recognize, which road, what's my mental practice here, and which road am I going down? And is this the road that I really want to go down? Is this the scary road? Or is this the road of my truth, where I can be happy and joyous, where I recognize my divine heritage, where I know that right where I am, God is, love is, peace is, power is, abundance is, joy is. The scary stuff is when we believe in lack and limitation. The scary stuff is when we believe that we're separate from life. No wonder we get so paralyzed with fear. No wonder. I say no more. In this month of October, as we begin to explore those things that go bump, as we begin to really uncover the cobwebs of our spiritual practice and of our consciousness and really go into the nooks and crannies, let's begin to sweep out that which no longer serves us. Let's begin to open the curtains and allow the sunlight of the Spirit into our consciousness, into our practices, into our daily lives, so that we might shine the light on the lies that we have believed to be true for so long. And as we do that together, we begin to live a magnificent life. As we look at the last quarter of 2013, it is incumbent upon us now to ramp it up and to really begin to look at the scary things and not make them so scary, because we know God is right where we are. God is our life. All things are possible in God. Right where I am, God is. So let's take that into our meditation. Let's take that into our quiet time. That as we simply begin to clear our laps and simply begin to just take a little time in the stillness and in the silence, we recognize that God is all. Right where I am, God is. And everything comes together for my good. God is all. Right where I am, God is. And everything comes together for my good. And for a few minutes, we'll just simply know that truth for ourselves. And we begin to do that software change and make this our new default. God is all. Everything is coming together for my good. Right where I am, God is.